Hello again. So today we're going to talk about mixed and entire radicals, and that would be the entire lesson for today. Very quick. So the concept of mixed and entire radical, if I write square root of 20 or square root of 5 or square root of 17, notice that there are no numbers in front of them except 1, and because of these are written on their own without any number in front or the coefficient, as we can call it as that, then we call these, all of these, called entire radical. So, but mixed radicals are written with a number in front of them. For example, 2 root 2, 3 root 5, minus 7 root 8. Now these, they have these numbers in front of the radical that is being multiplied by the radical. So this is 2 times root 2, but we don't write the actual multiplication sign here. We just ignore that. That is implied, and that is called, these are called mixed radicals. All right, the idea is to be able to go from one form to another form, change the form when it's necessary. So how do we change from an entire radical to mixed radical? Here is the process. Let's start with the example. Square root of 20 is an entire radical. We want to change it to a mixed radical. The first thing is that we need to break up this 20 into two factors of the 20s. When you multiply them, you get 20. The only catch that is that one of them must be a perfect square number, because this is the square root. So one of the two numbers, there are many options that we can do that, 2 and 10, that will give us 20, and so as, let's say, 4 and 5. But notice that between the two options, only 4 is our perfect square number. So by the way, what are the other perfect square numbers? So 1, 4, what is the next one? 9. 9 is 3 squared. How about next one? 16, that's 4 squared. And 25, 36, and you get the point, and it goes on forever. These are called all perfect square numbers. So the idea is to find the perfect square factor of a radicand for the square root and break that up. And to do that, that's what we will do, and then that will be we will get square root of 4 times 5. That's all we did. And here's the thing, square root of 4 times the square root of 5. So that means what we can do is that we can break up the square root of 4 times 5 as a square root of 4 times the square root of 5. That is allowed. And in this case now, we can now find out what the square root of 4 is. That's 2. But root 5, we can't really do anything with that. We leave it alone. And that would be our final answer in a form of mixed radical. Now, one thing I have to mention is that we just use the rule, multiplication rule of radicals, that if you have two radicals, root a times root b, you can multiply them together inside of the radical, and that's what we used. All right, and that's how we go back and forth between the two form, you have to use a multiplication of the radicals. All right? So now how do we go from a mixed radical to an entire radical? Let me give you an example. 7 times root 2. Well, this one is very actually easy. All you have to do is that the outside number that you have, you bring it inside by squaring it. So you will get 7 squared, and then you multiply it by the 2 that was already inside. Simple as that. And why are we squaring it? Because this is a square root. So that's all the answer. So now you do the multiplication. This becomes 49 times 2, and the answer would be square root of 98, and that is your entire radical. That is a mixed radical. So now let's do a couple of more examples of each. So let's start off with how would you simplify square root of 18? All right, well, we got to break up 18 into two numbers, and one of them must be a perfect square number. So here it is. 9 is a perfect square number. 9 times 2 is the square root of 18. And we know that the square root of 9 times 2 is the square root of 9 times the square root of 2 by the laws of multiplication of radicals. Square root of 9 is 3, and the root 2 will come down. And that would be that. Another example, let's do the example of the other way. Let's say 2 root 15. We want to change that into an entire radical. By rules, what we're going to do, we're going to take the 2 and we're going to bring the 2 inside by squaring it and then multiplying it by 15 that is already inside the radical. So in this case, what we have, 4 times 15, and the final answer will be square root of 60. All right, and now I'm going to let you be to do some exercises. The more practice you do, the better you get. Make sure you follow the rules, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.